Okay, so if you've checked out some of my other reviews, you'll know that I have a passion for photography. It stems from a long time ago. I mean, just after I left school, I started getting involved in taking photos. In those days, they were obviously film cameras. I even did my own developing and printing. And for a little while, I did wedding photography. And I had a SLR camera, numerous lenses, light meter. Yes, I'm that old. And basically, I loved it, but it was a lot of faffing around. I lost count of the number of times I missed out on something I wanted to take a picture of because I was faffing around with lenses and setting apertures and f-stops and all sorts of bits and pieces. But my love of photography hasn't diminished, and obviously photography has moved on a little. And whilst I still have a love of traditional photography, I still have a few cameras that I use. Mostly though, if I'm honest, I will use the phone that I've got because the photography aspects of those have vastly improved. But I do like to experiment with my photography. And for example, a little while back I got one of these things. This is the Insta360. This is the X3 version. As the name suggests, it does 360 degree photography. Benefits of that are, well, there's many of them, but the best thing really is that you don't have to frame your shot. Again, I remember when I was younger and trying to get the exact right exposure, the framing, the cropping, doing whatever else, zooming in, zooming out. You don't have to do that with a 360 degree camera to some extent, because you can just pick your bit because you're getting whole view. So you just choose the bit that you want. I also got involved in drone photography. So this is my go-to drone, the Hover Air X1. I have the X1 Pro Max, same basic thing. Why do I like this? Well, like that, like this, they're instantaneous. There's no faffing around trying to change lenses and things. You push a button. You've seen the review on my channel. You'll know that basically you put the button to turn it on. If you wish to, you're not on the right mode, then you push the button a few times above it to choose the right mode, put it on your hand, and off it jolly well goes. But these are okay, but they have limitations. So I also have what I would call a real drone. I've had several, but I've stuck with DJI. I find them an excellent drone, and I have a slightly old drone by today's standard, but I have the DJI Air 2, which is a great drone, but again, it goes back to having to set it up and get it all configured and do bits and pieces. And yes, whilst it does have some of those automatic modes that the Hover Air and others have, the DJI Neo and so forth, generally speaking, if you want to fly it properly, you use one of these things. So this is a kind of standard for most of those higher end drones, which is, you use your joysticks up, down, left, right, and there's little controllers on the back. You slide this thing out and then you slot your phone in at the top for viewing, and yes, you can get these that have a built-in screen. So what is this all leading on to? Well, it's leading on to my latest purchase. One thing I will point out, people have said I must have a lot of money, and it's fair, gadgets aren't cheap. The reality of it is though that I work in a hospital. But the hospital, the NHS, have a salary sacrifice scheme, and that's how I get most of my gadgets. I don't really have a huge amount of money. So the gadget I've got, which I'm going to show you, is expensive. Probably one of the most expensive purchases I've made, apart from perhaps the phone. So how can I afford it? Did I get it on salary sacrifice? Well, no, I didn't, because I'm hoping to retire next year, so I don't want to get myself committed to it. Every now and then I have a little gamble on the horse racing. Don't gamble unless you do it responsibly. I just do it occasionally. And last week I did a thing called a Lucky 15, and I got a winner and another winner, so a double. The first winner was 22 to 1. The second winner was 66 to 1. Yeah, that added up. I mean, it added up to over £2,000. So I gave half to the wife. Of course, I should have given it all to her, really, but, you know, I like my gadgets. And then I bought myself something that I was planning to buy next year, which is this, the Antigravity, weird name, A1 drone. First things first, it's kind of a bit like the DJI. It's got all bits and pieces to it, but it's kind of revolutionary because it has the world's first 360-degree camera built into it, which takes you to the point that you can now do the same thing. Once you're up in the air, you don't have to worry about focusing in, zooming in, going to various places. To some extent, you literally just film and edit it afterwards. So that in itself is quite an innovation. Secondly, I do find sometimes I don't really fly that much, not in the British weather. I do find that controller, this thing, a little on the fiddly side, and having to put your phone in there as well, so that means you're kind of stuck with that. They introduced this. This is a revolutionary controller. There are two modes. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll look at the review when I've done it. But there are two modes and a trigger. And my understanding is you literally just point where you want to go and the drone will follow you, up, down, left, right, whatever. Yes, there are a few buttons, and I'm told that these aren't as complicated as you might think they are. But this apparently is one of the most innovative ways of flying a drone. Great, but you're not going to fit a phone in there, are you? So how do you view it? Well, they've gone and done yet another thing, and they've produced this. So this is, for want of a better word, an FPV headset, first-person view headset. Now, it's kind of revolutionary. Not to say that there aren't drones that already have this. DJI do a drone with an FPV on it. I have yet, as you can see, it haven't even broken the cellophane on it. But it's also got a screen on the outside. So with the screen on the outside, that means that you can see what the drone's doing, and people can see what the drone's doing from the front of you. So it's more interactive, far more interactive. So when you think about it, you've not just got an innovation, you've got an innovation, an innovation, and an innovation all bundled together in what I can only say is a lot smaller drone than I was expecting it would be. So this is the drone itself. That is the 360-degree camera. Yes, it does fold out. I'm told, because with the DJI, this is the first time I've done this, by the way, so if it looks a bit cack-handed, that's me, not the drone. That is the configuration. This thing is what they call sub 250 grams, 249 grams or thereabouts with the battery inserted. One thing that you should be aware of, tomorrow is New Year's Day 2026, when they introduced, the authorities, the civil aviation authorities, have introduced a new drone law. Now, I already have a certificate of competence, an A2C, that allows me to fly bigger drones and do things that normal drone flyers can't do. That meant that I had to have, you have an operator ID and a flying ID. You only really needed one of those for a sub 250 gram drone. You didn't have to go to do any qualifications to actually get that. That's changed, so now whatever the drone you've got, you need both a flyer ID and an operator ID, and you need to go through a competency test, which is not a bad thing in my opinion. And you need to use your common sense. There are some really stupid people out there that really muck it up for us serious drone flyers. Don't fly it down a road, don't fly it in front of people unless you got their consent, and be careful with what you're doing. On that point, I should also say that when you are using these, you can't get a direct line of sight to the drone. which is technically illegal too. So you're supposed to have a spotter, for want of a better word, someone that's keeping an eye on the drone while you actually operate it. So there are a few things to bear in mind. I haven't yet set it up. I have got to charge it up. So I've got to charge the drone up, this up, the headphones up. So again, that's another slight complication. Then I will get it up and running. Once the weather perks up, I'll do a proper review. Incidentally, there are a variety of versions of this. The basic version comes with what I've just shown you and one battery. These are the batteries. And incidentally, they do a standard version. I think, do check the specs, but I think these last for about 24 minutes, and they do a high capacity version, which I think lasts for 39 minutes. It comes in a very nice, stylish little case. There we are, with compartments for everything. It's well packaged. It also comes with some spare blades. That's the screwdriver, and then I've got 8 spare blades with the packaging. And I bought the next version up. I think it's called the Essentials. The only difference with that is that you also get a hub and 3 batteries. So the hub, like the DJI hub that I've got, will charge the 3 batteries. You can charge, some of these can be charged using the USB port on the back. Comes with a lanyard. I believe these are replacement lenses, so you can pop those out if they get broken. A little cloth, and and the case for the drone itself. So quite a lot for your money. A couple of cables, standard affair really, but overall not too bad. Price wise, basic package is £1 short of £1,300. So thank you to the 2 horses. I went for the next one up, which gave me the 3 batteries, and that was another £100. If you pay another £100, you get the high capacity batteries, and I think there's another £100 which gives you a depleted bank account. I don't know what else. Have a look on the website. One thing to bear in mind, it doesn't come, as far as I'm aware, with a memory card. So buy one of those 2. I've gone for the 512 megabyte card, and I've gone for a branded one. I have been caught out in the past with non-branded ones, even from what you'd think would be a decent place to buy, like Amazon. My honest opinion is don't risk it. The whole thing is geared around taking photos and storing them. Storing them on a card that is cheap, slow, potentially fraudulent. I think I got a 1 terabyte card once, and I think it was a 128 gigabyte card that they sort of put a bit of software in to make it pretend it had 1 terabyte. Well, needless to say, that ended really rather badly and ended up in the bin. So for me, I tend to use the SanDisks. If you do a bit of research, you'll know that there are speeds for these. So this one is the Ultra, and I think they've got an Extreme and a few others. So again, because you're writing a lot of information to that card, the faster the card, the better in reality. Please bear in mind too that this thing is going to capture a lot of information. The thing also has an app which I've downloaded. I haven't connected it or tried anything yet because I need to charge this all up. That app was a 1 gigabyte, which surprised me for a phone app. That's quite high. There is a PC. I'm not sure if it's Mac as well, but there is an editing suite which is useful. So again, for the 360 that I've got here, I do a lot of editing on the PC because even though I've got a high spec tablet, it's not really up to the task in some cases. 8K this thing is, which sounds brilliant, and it is. The reality is though, you're taking everything. So if you start to zoom in and crop, and especially for still images, the quality will come down considerably. One thing the editing software does, which is really the whole crux of the 360, is it lets you choose what part of that 360 you actually use, all of it, part of it, or whatever. And it also does tracking. So for example, if you're following, I don't know, a bike, You just highlight the bike in the image, which you'll see is going to be there because it's 360 degree, and it will track it for you. There's also a mode on the drone which allows you, I can't remember what it's called, but it allows you to sort of predefine a flight path. So the drone does all the flying. You don't have to, which is great because then you could shove the glasses, the goggles, onto a mate, a kid. If you've got a kid, the laws are a bit different when it comes to children flying. So just be careful you don't break the law. But then they can actually experience it. I'm expecting the wow factor from the few reviews I've seen. This incidentally has only just been released this month, so there are a few reviews, but they're pretty fresh at the moment, and some of them were because they had a pre-release version of this. So I'm hoping this is the retail product, that any of the little things that they spotted that might have been wrong aren't wrong anymore. But as I say, it's called the Antigravity A1 360 degree 8K drone with FPV goggles and whatever derivative you want. I look forward to trying it in earnest and posting some images, video and so forth in due course. In the meanwhile, be sensible if you get one of these or any one of these drones, where you use them, please, because otherwise it's really going to get Gregorian. It's going to get nasty for people that want to fly them recreationally. There are the rules. Have a look at them, read them. If you're going to get a drone now, tomorrow, then you're going to have to learn a few rules anyway, because you need to do it if you're doing it legally, and that is what you should do, because we're all law-abiding citizens here. Gerard Butler, good film. Enough waffle. I'll post a review once this lot's charged up and ready to go. And thank you again for watching my channel. Please subscribe and share if you wish. And if you don't, your prerogative. I'm not forcing you. Thanks again, and bye-bye from Gadget Land.